Welcome back to Ethnic Health America. In this segment of Non-Traditional Health, we'll be talking about yoga. Our special guest is NIkki Thomas. She is a morning personality on KBLX Radio in San Francisco Bay Area. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your journey to yoga.
Journey to yoga. I was just curious about it, like a lot of people are. It kind of was out there. You'd see it on TV and hear people talking about it probably 10 or 12 years ago. And one day, well, it was so long ago, it wasn't even a DVD. It was a yoga tape, a VHS tape. I did one of those tapes one day, and I could feel such a huge difference. So I practiced and kind of went back and forth a little bit, and then it just hit me one day that I should go ahead and become certified to teach it because it was something that I really had attached myself to and could see the benefits of.
Now, many exercises are kind of aerobic, strengthening. Yoga's more stretching exercise. Tell us a little bit about the techniques and how they have helped you.
Well, it's a bit different because I like to think of yoga as a mind, body, spirit workout. It forces you to pay attention to the breath. You're bringing the mind and the body into unison. And many people often find that you not only feel the physical benefits, but you feel mental benefits as well. You often leave energized. Plenty of answers usually come to you after a yoga session. Something that might have been sitting heavy on you at the beginning of class might lift off you, and you might say, you know what, I think I have my answer now. And you just kind of go forward, and you are a little bit more effective at going about daily life.
Now, I know that there are different forms of yoga. There's the real hot yoga, there's
Right.
slow yoga, there's all kinds of different yogas. What is the difference between them in a very general sense, and what style do you appreciate?
Well, that's a question people ask me a lot, and I don't really adhere to a rule that I have to teach one particular style of yoga when I step into a class. I've studied a few different kinds, and since I work with beginners, I keep that in mind at the beginning of my soul yoga class. You always ask, is there someone who has a condition? Have you done yoga before? So I try to take my students through the most effective poses and exercises so that everybody gets the benefits, but they can still feel like they've kept up with the class.
Most people, when they think about yoga, they think about positions.
Right.
And they think about it in a very kind of disorganized way. They have no real idea. What is the philosophy of the positioning that goes along with yoga?
Well, when you say yoga, that's interesting that you would ask that. I took a yoga class a few weeks ago, and they were saying, like, in India, when you say yoga, they will think you're talking about meditation. And here in the United States, we think about the poses, which are the asanas. But the poses and the breathing all goes together. So you kind of, fuse everything together, and then you come out with a workout that just kind of works on everything.
How are you strengthening muscles? And I know it happens, but I'm just not sure why it happens.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of people assume that it is just stretching. Oh, well, I stretch before I lift weights, or I stretch before I do this. But it's a lot more strenuous than people think. You are, if I can use some terms that people are familiar with, lots of lunges, lots of push-ups. You're using your body weight. You're using twists to not only stretch, but to invigorate the body and get the internal organs back into alignment. So you're doing a whole lot. I would urge people who are curious just a little bit to go to a yoga class. And, it's a little challenge because you absolutely are getting a serious workout. I've had a lot of big, strong, burly guys in the class, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, slow down a little bit. So it's a workout.
Oh, I know it's a workout. I've seen some of my friends, well, I'm going to yoga class for the first time tonight. And you can't call them for 2 or 3 days because they're either laid up or...
Right, you shouldn't overdo it,
but that happens.
Yes.
Now, when you teach beginners, is there a certain philosophy, spiritual philosophy, that goes along with the kinds... I noticed you're soul yoga.
Yes.
And what is the difference between soul yoga and non-soul yoga?
Well, soul yoga was the name that I liked to apply to what I taught because, and I say this at the beginning of every class, and it's a light bulb moment for a lot of people. Yoga began in Africa, ancient Egypt. These were postures and chants and meditations that they used as a discipline to enhance their lives. And when people find that out, it's like, well, this is a reconnection to what we already have inside of us, our history and things. So I like to put that out there in front because people make the mistake, oh, it's a religion, it's I can't do it because I'm a Christian, and that's absolutely not true. Whatever your spiritual beliefs are, yoga will enhance whatever those beliefs or rituals are because, as I said before, you are bringing the body and mind into focus, into a union, and that just makes everything that you have going on in your life it just makes everything more effective.
Well, tell us about your classes. Where are they? How do people who want to access those or want to know more about yoga, where would they get that information, and what's it like?
Well, I have a website. It's called the NikkieThomasNetwork.com, and I always have information about my classes. I teach at the Malunga Cascalord Center on Saturday mornings, 9:15. And, you know, the schedule is subject to change, but there's always information on the site. You can sign up for the mailing list, and I'll send you information when we have a class coming up, you know, if there are changes or anything.
And are there different levels? Like, I mean, if I'm kind of interested, I know that I need to stretch because every time I get up in the morning, I say, you know, you should be doing something else other than this.
Right.
And do you have classes for different levels of people?
Well, I try to make sure that things are accessible to everybody in the class. So it's a challenge, and it's something that the beginners can keep up with, but also it's important to keep in mind that yoga is not a competition. The other thing that I say at the beginning of class is if you need to take a rest, take a rest. You don't have to twist yourself into a pretzel. Even if I am, you know, doing a position and I'm getting, you know, I'll stop and say, hey, if you're a beginner, you can stop here. If you want to go further, let's go a little bit further. So everybody is enjoying it and getting the benefits.
Well, I think people can probably visually see the impact of yoga. So, NIkki Thomas, thank you for taking the time to join us.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after this break.